I'm Robert Shockey, the CEO and founder of Quantus Life, and we are an online marketplace for all these amazing products like frequencies and new advanced biotechnologies and nutritionals and more. So please visit www.quantuslife.com. Today, we are featuring one of the founders and inventors, Eugene Burnett, and he
Advanced
is the
light
inventor of
devices.
ALD and thermolumin products. And we are featuring just one of these amazing red light therapy products on Quantus Life. And we thought it would be great to go ahead and invite Gene to talk a little bit about what's behind red light therapy and really what's behind the technology, because this is such a new technology for many of us out there. For some, it's not. Some are using this for many different medical reasons, for beauty reasons, for pain and discomfort. But we thought we'd hear it right from the horse's mouth with Gene. Gene, thank you very much for joining us today.
You're welcome. Thank you. Well, it's obvious that I'm not using it for beauty to start off with here. But I've been working with light for 25 years, and I first got into it because became aware of what's called ultraviolet blood irradiation, which you use ultraviolet blood or ultraviolet rays just like you would in processing water or sewage, food processing, hospitals, etc., for sterilizing. We use it to deactivate pathogens in the blood. And along the way, we started using visible wavelengths of light, which have different actions and activities on the cells of the body. Virtually every cell in our tissues of the body contains photoreceptors. So it's interesting. There's a lot of technologies out there that use like sound or this or that, but they don't have sound receptors in them. They have photoreceptors. So why do cells deep in your body have photoreceptors? It's because our cells actually communicate using packages of light. This is verifiable and true. It's not just, electrons. It is an electromagnetic emission. But what we've done is we have honed in with the new device, the Theralumin, which is the small wrist device, that I have here. I have
Yes.
a rubber band on this thing. I don't know. Anyway, this is the device.
Yes,
But we
I have.
use this to photoactivate molecules and also just to stimulate, just to send energy into the bloodstream, which is carried to the mitochondria of the cells to photoactivate and upregulate the activity systemically in your body of the tissues in your system. So go ahead.
Let me pause you there real quick, because there's something that you just said there, Gene, that sort of I had a thought, and maybe on the person that's watching this is going to have the same thought, and that is photoreceptors in the cells. So when our body, you said there's plenty of evidence, but when our body goes out into the outdoor, I live here in Florida, and when I go out into the sun, I know that I'm getting the sun's rays on me, and it is interacting with my cells. Sometimes it causes sunburn, but also it's causing a chemical change in my body as well. It's creating vitamin D.
Exactly.
So wouldn't that be proof that light and our cells are being activated by light, infrared, and red light?
Well, it is. I mean, there's a lot of different wavelengths in sunlight. But by the same token, yes, the visible light in the sunlight does help generate vitamin D, massive amounts of vitamin D. And so when you're laying out in the sun in the summertime or swimming or whatever it might be, or running or walking or anything, you get vitamin D. It's incredibly important for our immune function. So yeah, the answer is yes. I mean, there's some evidence of that, but there's also evidence of using red light itself to disaggregate blood cells,
Okay.
to send energy, like I said, to the mitochondria of the cells, to photoactivate that. So when you increase ATP function, adenosine triphosphate, when you increase that, that's like the gasoline of the cells, if you will. Of course, gasoline is pretty high price
It's the
these days.
energy. It's
But
the energy in the cell.
you know that that's the fuel of the cells. So it increases exponentially. Sometimes, you know, 10 million fold. You know,
Wow.
so what we're doing is we're taking, you know, two wavelengths of red, and we're just, I mean, this is hugely powerful.
It is.
And what we're doing is we're putting it into the radius and the ulnar, right there where you have the, you know, the arteries, you know, in your wrist, and we have very good access there. So why don't we put it on our knee, you know, or our head, you know, or our arm or whatever? It's because we have the ability to penetrate there. Now, if you look at this, you can see that this is actually going through my hand.
Wow.
There isn't anything out there that'll do this. This
No.
is the strongest device ever made, you know, for stimulating. I mean, we're actually going through the meat of my hand
What
with
I'm
this
noticing
device.
with mine, and I have mine. I love my device. What I'm noticing is that there's a pulsing almost going on, Gene. Why
Well,
does it pulse and why not
we're doing
steady?
that. Well, we're doing that for a couple of reasons. The first reason we're doing that is we're trying to get a tremendous amount of energy input into your bloodstream, you know, via the, you know, the arterial system here.
Right.
If we had it on constantly, we wouldn't be able to use that much intensity because we burn you.
Oh. Okay.
So what we're doing is we're pulsing this light fast, you know, at high intensity in order to able it to penetrate. And
Wow.
we do it with uh, two wavelengths of red, and they're alternated in here. So each wavelength is on at the same time on both arteries. So, you know, like if it's this way, it gets to
Right.
660, 625. And if it's that way, it gets to 660, 25. And that's where it alternates. So we alternate them as well as pulse them in order to be able to deliver the intensity without the heat.
Wow. And
And
I
that's what
noticed.
does the trick.
I noticed that this lasts about 30 minutes. I take another one of the products that we might touch on here today, but I use this product. It seems like it's enhancing some of the other nutritionals that I'm taking. So I take a product like DHA, which is like an algae product. I take some of my vitamins, but I'm using this during a cardio sessions for my walks, my daily walks. I turn this on for daily walks.
Right.
Um, what do you advocate? Should someone just be sedentary and using this, or can they be sedentary and using this? What is the benefits of using like a
Well,
combination of nutritionals?
let's say if you are sedentary and using it, it's going to help you because it's going to help. If you think about your blood cells, let's take a fairly unhealthy person example,
Yeah.
and let's say their blood is clumped together like little clumps of grapes.
Hmm.
Well, the light helps. Scientific research shows that red light helps disaggregate blood cells, which means we're taking those little grapes off the clumps and we're letting those little grapes flow free. So what happens? Well, everything in the body is mechanical at the end of the day. So
Yeah.
if you have a doorway and you know a doorway, a regular small doorway, you could take a chair or a table through, but you can't take a piano through.
Right.
You know,
Right.
so what we're doing is we're making those blood cells able to travel to places in the body to deliver nutrients and oxygen and, you know, and life-giving amino acids and things to areas that they might not be able to reach otherwise.
So that is truly amazing. I want to talk about some of the design, but something else that you said about the mitochondria that we're doing a little bit of our own research before we obviously put the product on the website.
There
But
is something I wanted to say here before we
sure,
go
sure,
further. You
yeah,
mentioned it with green algae and things like that and other stuff.
yeah,
Yes, you can photoactivate these substances with it, which makes them more bioactive.
okay,
So you're basically giving them a booster rocket in terms of energy. You know, everybody's taking super beats, they're doing this and that and all that to increase nitric oxide. Well, that's great. You know, that's part of the immune system. But when you're photoactivating the algae or methylene blue, whatever it might be, you're upregulating its activity. So I just wanted to get to that before we went past that
Oh
into
no, no, no. It's
the
definitely.
new subject. And you were talking about athletic activity because you're going to notice an increase in activity. I mean, people have the ability, a mountain bike rider, for example, might be able to pass the rest stop that's organized for them, or or go faster or beat people that they've never done before, for example.
I'll confirm that we have another gentleman that that we have allowed him to use the red light. We gave him his own red light, and he's a runner. He's a daily runner,
There you
and
go.
he said that when he's using this product in conjunction with his other supplements too, but he feels like that he's seen many different types of tech, but this is a tech that he will not do without. It's something that he said he will use this on a daily basis, that he feels a significant difference. Now
People
that's,
fall in love with it. Yeah.
yeah, and his name is Lance, and just an amazing individual there.
Right.
But I'll share with you something, and you touched on this before our interview, and I'm gonna touch on it now. I was sick. I had COVID once, and I had the Omicron as well.
Not
And for whatever
you.
reason, yeah, right. And for whatever reason, I was very lethargic afterwards. I called myself a napaholic. All I wanted to do was take naps, right? Nap
Right.
after nap. I couldn't necessarily get my energy up, and
Really?
I'm in the gym. I'm usually out. I have children, so I'm with my children. We're playing, and I just had zero energy. I just felt
Mm.
completely lethargic. So I've been using your product now, the red light, in conjunction with my normal regimen, and I will tell you that although I'm still taking my naps, all right, but I'm down to like one nap a day now versus where I was at like two and three, needing consistently tired.
Mhm.
And I don't know if that's oxygenating my blood. I don't know if that's like cleaning my blood. I don't know why that is,
No,
but
what you're doing is you're increasing your ATP in your mitochondria. That energy that you put into the bloodstream. Red blood cells don't have mitochondria, but that light is carried through the system to the cells in the tissue. And they're waking up. They're performing more. You know, they're they're photoactivated.
okay,
And that activates your body when your ATP is functioning, your cells are functioning properly. You've got, number one, you got healthy cells, and number two, you've got more energy available. So that ATP is the energy component of your cell. That produces the energy in the cells. So when you have that extra energy, that's the reason why you're not napping. Of course, I got up at 2 o'clock this morning, and I usually work till about 6 o'clock in the evening. And I wear this maybe 3 4 times a day
right,
because it's good for about 30-minute sessions. But I wear it like crazy. I alternate a couple of them if I want to. I just
yeah,
charge up another one. I got one charging while I'm using one, et cetera. And then
right.
I do some photo activated stuff, and I take a lot of supplements. But you're right. Now we need to do some more research into how much these supplements are photo activated, et cetera, et cetera. But everything we hear from people is that they've got more energy. They can run faster. They can bike longer. They can lift more weights. They can martial artists can fight better.
Yeah.
And get injured less.
Well, it's interesting you mentioned injury, because if we're looking at the mitochondria, and we're enhancing the energy within the mitochondria, and the mitochondria is the power, is the cell itself, and then it's, if we're providing energy to it, and it needs to copy in order to make new cells, right? So we're always making new cells, a copy of that cell. Are we giving it, our bodies, the best option, because we're making that particular cell healthy before it makes a copy, and it's carrying on that same kind of health and form and shape,
Well,
going in? Or there's something
yeah.
dead when I'm injured, am I getting a dead cell, and is it helping the dead cells? How does that work?
Well, I would say no doubt it's helping when they make other cells. But when you talk about injury, injury is kind of like a computer that gets out of programming.
Mm.
You need to defrag and scan disk and do that to get the system back in line. So what
Sure.
happens is this energy, let's say you injure your shoulder, this energy helps that area heal faster
Mm.
because those cells are more active, and we don't know all the biological answers to everything, but
Sure.
we're going to be conducting some clinical trials in Mexico, and we can go back to COVID, circle back to COVID anytime you want, because I've got some great information on this and preventing COVID. Um,
Preventing,
so,
prevention.
um, well, we used this in Mexico City starting in May of 2020, uh,
Okay.
and it was not this one exactly. It was a prototype. It was one prior to this.
Yeah.
But we had our doctors and nurses who were treating corona patients every day use this with a substance. It's a methylene blue that we have. It photoactivates that. But no, none of our nurses and doctors have gotten sick in 2 years
Wow.
wearing this. Nobody's tested positive.
Wow.
So if you use this every day, it's our feeling that it's going to help you stay healthy and prevent it. It's not just COVID. It could be the flu, it could be a cold, it could be a sore throat, it could be, a bacterial thing. It doesn't have to be viral. But the interesting thing about it is if you really look, there are no medicines for virus. The remdesivir and that's a horrible drug. But what's the other ivermectin and things like that people have been using for coronavirus? They help the immune system fight it. They're not antivirals particularly. The only
Mm.
antiviral I know of is the one they used to call it Harvoni. I think they call it Maverick now. Is for
Mm.
hepatitis, Hep
Okay.
C only.
Right.
It's not for Hep
Hepatitis C.
B or A or D or whatever, just Hep C.
Hmm.
But viruses eluded the medical establishment for virtually the history of the world.
Right.
So what we have now is devices that can address viruses, that medicines can't. And we can't make a medical claim that it'll
No,
do
we
this.
can't.
All we can tell you is that it's our experience that this prevents the onset of the virus. And my assistant here also suffered from migraines,
Mm.
for 30 something year, 30, 35 years.
Wow.
And recently moved into a new house. And when she moved into the new house, she experienced an increase in those migraine headaches, and we believe it was from the toxins, the outgassing of the paint and
Of
and the
course.
grout and the furniture, all the rest of that.
Of course.
As soon as she started wearing this, and she was using our methylene blue, but as soon
Yeah.
as she started wearing this, the headaches stopped and haven't come back. Now that's been, I'm going to have to ask her a second. How many months has it been? How many months?
8 months?
8 months?
Yeah.
No headaches?
No.
And you had headaches since you were what? 8 or 9?
Yeah.
Um, that's magnificent. I
It
mean, come
is
on. You
truly.
got headaches, and the headaches go away.
Sure.
Headaches are no fun.
No, they're not.
We don't have a clinical trial that says you can. We've done 500 patients, but it's a matter of it takes money and time to do that.
No,
But
of
all
course.
we know, anecdotally, we get information from people. We had a little child who was about 3 years old who had a high fever and an earache, and so her mom put this on her for 10 minutes on her ear. Her fever was like 104. Yeah, it was a
Right.
high fever.
Yeah.
Within about 30 minutes, she stopped being cranky and crying and playing with her
Right.
ear. The
Right.
next morning, she woke up completely well.
Wow.
Now,
Wow. It's amazing.
go
And
figure.
I have seen some of your testimonials, and they're pretty amazing. The testimonials.
Well, they're
So
also real.
right. Well,
That's the interesting thing about it.
that's a beautiful thing. I love this. I know that this is probably more of a function thing about this, but I've had other bands, and I have like neoprene bands and everything else, and they get really sweaty because I like using this when I go for my cardio, and even when I'm sitting at my desk, I use it. But I love this metallic band. This is quality.
Yes.
This is a a nice quality metallic band,
Right.
and it's
Right.
completely adjustable with a magnet. I thought that
Yep.
was so clever. I know that seems so silly, but from taking from a person who's always wearing different types of things, wearable wellness. This is wearable wellness, and it is a completely adjustable. And I just love the fact that it's adjustable like this, and
Well,
it doesn't get sweaty and nasty either.
right. If we don't make something, if we don't make the highest quality product possible, we don't make it.
Hmm.
And this is the same type of band that Apple uses, the magnetic band. It's
Okay.
not that we're copying them or anything. It's the point is that that's the way to do it because that's the best kind of band. I've seen other devices with cheap little bands. Maybe they cost, 50 cents or 35 cents for a band as opposed to a couple of bucks or whatever it might be. But the
Right.
point is, let's make the best product we can. Let's make it the best way we can. Let's make it work as good as we can. Let's get as much energy out of it without
Of course.
hurting the patient,
Of
or the
course.
wearer. And so that's our philosophy.
Yeah.
We make a lot of other products, and people say, well, why don't you make this cheaper product? I said, why do I want to go backwards?
Right. Of
We don't want to
course.
go backwards. We want to go forward. We want to do the best we can and make the best products we can. Period.
Well, and for the benefit, I 100% agree with that. It's one of the reasons why we were just so excited to have this product featured, and then not only to have it featured, but really we're talking with a lot of different professionals about this product,
Mhm.
and they're excited to share this with their patients and their clients because they have, let's say, red light therapy booths in their facility that they're using, and yet the patients aren't there every day getting the benefit of it when they can get the use of this on a daily basis in
Right.
conjunction with the regular sessions, which those are very expensive sessions that they're doing, and those booths are not inexpensive. For people that are watching this, you make such red light booths, like you make red light devices.
Well,
This is only a new departure. I mean, your core business is servicing the medical community with red light,
well,
correct?
exactly. My wife's a personal trainer. I'm
Yeah.
75. She's 75. I don't mind. I don't mind telling my age. And so, and she works out about 3 hours a day. She does
Wow.
about 4 miles on a treadmill. She does an hour with step class and weights, which I do those with her. And then she swims 80 laps. But the other morning she woke up and her heel of her foot hurt so badly. I mean, out of the blue, straight out of the blue. And so I put one of my pads on her foot, and she couldn't even walk on it. She had to go, like on
Tippy
her
toe.
toes, and it was terrible.
Yeah.
And she was able to do her class, that afternoon. But within 2 days, the pain was completely gone. And she had another injury from it's referred pain from a broken disc from years ago. On her other foot, we fixed that in 2 days. It's you're talking about boots for neuropathy, probably. We
Right.
make
Right.
high-powered lasers, where you treat the area with this a high-powered infrared laser, and then you put the pads on the feet. And after a period of time, say a month or so, the neuropathy is virtually gone. Now you'll see people that'll be able to do a treatment and walk outside and say, I can feel the grass, when they couldn't before. And
Wow.
that's pretty amazing. But what it requires is the right wavelength and the right power. The key to it is what we call optical density.
Optical density.
This is optical density. Think of a hose. Your watering hose. You got a little nozzle. Okay, you turn the nozzle to where you've got a nice strong jet.
Stream.
It
Yeah.
might be smaller, but that jet is stronger. It has more force. That would be like optical density. That
Gotcha.
means power. It means power per square centimeter. And centimeter, millimeter, whatever. But but that is the key. The key is optical density. You can have people have these light panels that they stand in front of and all that. It's a
Sure.
joke. The reason why it is, I don't mean any disrespect, but I got to
Of
call it
course.
like it is because I want to tell the truth.
Of course.
that energy is so diffuse. It looks like it's bright and it's strong and everything, but it's so diffuse that it can't penetrate. It can't get in. It can't do much. It might have
Oh,
some effect, but some little effect. Whereas this is massive because we're putting it straight into the bloodstream,
yeah.
and that blood is carried. You have a systemic effect.
It's going like I could
You have
see
a
it through my
systemic.
knuckles. I could see this through my knuckles.
Of course, you can. Yeah,
That's the density. That's why this is like
it's
this is
optical
going right.
density and wavelength. But
And
that is a
I have a
function of
light.
optical density. There are other light devices out there,
Hmm.
but they're not like this,
No.
and and we know that. I mean, it's simply that's the case. But you're right. It'll go through your knuckles. It'll go through your hand. I don't know if it can. I can't
Yeah, you can see a little
zoom
light
on
coming
this.
through your wrist. Yep.
You can in a completely dark room, but I
Hmm.
mean, here we
You
are.
can
Look at
see it.
this.
You can see it. It's
I
amazing.
mean, I'm
That's
not
going
I'm
right
not
through the
real
skin.
thick, but I'm not real thin either. I mean, the point is that this is this is I mean, this is on the palm of my hand, and that's your key. Your key is optical density,
Right.
optical density and wavelength. We use two. Do you want to talk about photodynamic substances, or because that goes to wavelength? I don't know if you want to or not, but we can talk
Yeah.
about it, and you can leave it in or take it out.
Yeah. I think that that's really interesting why it works. Right. Why does this work? And then I want to talk about this other product that you mentioned that I've also been taking, the supplement that your company produces, and we're not necessarily we're allowing the pros to take advantage of it, and that's the methylene blue.
Right.
And I have to tell you that between the combination of the methylene blue and this, I am sleeping better, performing better on a daily basis, and I know that
Excellent.
we're really putting it we're really making it available right now to just the pros, the methylene blue portion just to the
Gotcha.
pros right
I
now.
understand. You want to make sure the serious people, who analyze their performance, et cetera, have the ability to do that.
Right.
You see, methylene blue is a double absorption spectrum primarily, and so what we're doing is we're infusing the both of the optimal wavelengths for absorption to photoactivate that molecule. So there's a lower 600 and a higher 600 wavelength. And so what we're doing is we're providing that emission of both of those wavelengths so that we can basically double activate it,
Wow.
instead of just one wavelength. But also the other thing is your 660 in here penetrates about 3 times as deep as your 625. That's just a function of science,
Hmm.
in tissue. So that's why we have it for the double absorption spectrum, but also for the depth, and the ability to photoactivate, and carry the energy through the system.
So
Um,
is that where you're talking about the photodynamics of the product of using a product like that in your bloodstream, or
well, relative to the molecule, yes, and also relative to the system, yes. It's a double yes. I mean, it works in all of those areas. I mean, it's a matter of knowing. It's a matter of doing research and knowing what you're doing instead of just throwing some light sources out there. I mean, this has a capability of about 3 or 4 times the energy that we're emitting too. So
wow.
we've we've actually got this functioning at about 30% of full capacity, because that's about all we can use to not hurt you.
Got
Um,
it.
but so therefore, what we're doing is these light sources are not working hard. They're going to last
Right.
forever.
Then that's a lot longer. Right.
Realistically, they're just kind of um, idling along, shall we say, uh,
Sure.
but idling along at high output.
I've saw that dentists are using the red light in their practices now,
Yep,
um, and I wasn't sure why they're using. Are they using the red light to kill the bacteria within the mucous membrane, or what are they?
they're
What are they
using
using
it
red
to
light?
heal tissue primarily. You can use it
Okay.
to. You can use it to. You can actually go after biofilm with it, but we don't have. we have a dental university that's going to do some clinical research for it on that. We don't want to make a claim yet, but we did have a guy who took this and who had, he was scheduled to have a root canal because he had an abscessed tooth, and
Okay.
they were just going to do the surgery on it and do a root canal, etc. He
Yeah.
used this with the methylene blue on the abscess. 3 days later, he went to the dentist. The dentist said, "I don't have to do it. Your infection's gone."
Wow.
It's a real story. I mean, I
Wow.
got the guy's name and phone number. You can talk to him.
Sure. Of course. Of course.
You know,
That is
uh,
really amazing.
that's an interesting
Really
story.
amazing. It's really amazing because honestly, I thought, well, why am I going to go to the dentist? I'm just going to take this device, Gene, and I'm just going to hold it here, and maybe it has some benefit.
Or even on the outside of your cheek because it's going
Wow,
through.
it's going right through the membrane.
Yeah, you'll see
Amazing.
that. Now, I was at a conference up in Seattle
Yeah.
some months ago, and it's like a convention. So you're on your feet all day. You're
Of
seeing
course.
people. You got doctors and patients and all that stuff all day long. From you got to get there about 7 o'clock, and you finally get out of there about 7 o'clock at night. You do this 3 days in a row. I'm on the plane going back, and my neck was hurting me, like the B word.
Yeah.
It was hurting me. It was hurting me really bad. So I
Yeah.
said, hey, dummy, why don't you take this thing and put it on your neck? So I
Right.
did. I was sitting on a plane. I don't know what people think. It doesn't matter to me.
No, of course not.
So I lit it up. Let's see if I can push the button. I lit it up, put it on my back, on my neck, laid
Yeah.
back there with it. Pain went away. Next morning I woke up, no pain, zero.
Wow.
Because it really helps with all that because it helps with the tissues, it helps with the muscles, it helps with all the tendons and the nerves and that sort of thing. And it calms everything down. It reduces inflammation.
It
It
reduces
increases
inflammation. I was just going to
circulation.
ask you if it does that. Yeah.
So, so it heals.
That's amazing.
Now
Uh,
we're not promoting it as a pain device, but
mm,
hey, in a pinch it works.
absolutely. Well,
And
I'll tell you that I am so very grateful to be able to share this product with as many people as we can, because I just feel that this is one of the easiest, most. It's affordable, it's easy, it's simple to use, yet has maximum potential to benefit my life. So I am really so excited and at this opportunity to present such a product like this. And with your 25 years of experience and all the technologies and engineering that you put into your company and the technologies there, it's really amazing that you were able to bring out such a convenient product like this for us, for the direct consumer.
well, it took 3 years for me to put this thing together. It
Wow.
wasn't it wasn't just, oh, we're going to do this and it's going to be right. We had to
Right.
experiment with one of the keys to this is the battery. I mean, there's you know three basic keys: your emitter, your battery, and your wavelengths. And to be able to emit the maximum amount of energy without injury.
Sure.
And like we say, the proper wavelengths for photoactivation, and being able to recycle it, to do it like say 3 times a day with this. So I do it morning, noon, and evening. If you're out in the crowd and you're with people all day, what we say, use it in the morning. If you can, just you wear it once during the day if you can't, or if it's going to interfere with your work environment or whatever it might be, or people would you know get upset about it.
Right.
Don't do it, but do it in the evening. I do it. I go to sleep with this thing on. You know,
Yeah,
I do.
I've noticed that. I noticed that I turned it on and then I left it on. I've left it on and then forgot that I even had it on because it's so lightweight and it looks nice. And I've left it on and then I just remind myself to turn it back on and I turn it back on. I'm like, okay, I'm getting another session.
It weighs
So
about 60, it weighs about 60 grams.
It's amazing.
which is nothing. There's a device out there made by a German country. It's German engineering.
Yeah.
Uh, it weighs about a half a pound. It feels like it probably weighs 6 ounces. It's got a fraction of the energy of this, and it sells for like $1,300.
Wow.
It's
Wow.
nuts.
It's not convenient. Not convenient at
Um,
all.
and it's they use green and blue and all the rest of this and amber. Well, guess what? Green, blue, and amber wouldn't penetrate a piece of paper.
Right.
You know, you have to get into tissue, you have to get into your bloodstream, and when you get there, you have to have enough energy left to photoactivate. You
Amazing.
can't just arrive at the scene and not have and be out of gas. You have to
Right.
arrive at the scene and have power to activate. And
Amazing.
and they have all these other wavelengths. Oh, this increases nitric oxide. This does this and that. It's all a bunch of hooey
Hmm.
because I mean it's born of ignorance when people make these kind of devices.
Of
It's
course.
they don't do the research. It may activate a cell somewhere, but it's not going to do anything in your body because it can't get there.
Amazing. Well, we're so extremely grateful that you've spent 3 years in development of such a product,
Yeah,
25 years of experience developing such a lightweight, valuable product like this. And we hope that we get even more opportunity to speak with you again. And this has been amazing. It's my honor to interview you, Eugene, and I hope
I
that this is
appreciate
just
it.
one
I'm
of
a
many.
little wordy sometimes. I hope I didn't, bore you to death.
Not at all. Not at all. This is all very exciting, and I think it's just an advent. This is an advent of wearable technologies. I think it's an advent of red light technology, and I think it's going to really benefit a lot of people. So I think we're doing a really good thing here.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'm honored as well. I'm glad you like it, and it's just wear it in good health because that's what it's all about. It's wearable wellness. If it can prevent one flu, with you or one cold or some systemic. As we get older, our systems don't work as good, as they did when we were younger. Our immune system doesn't work as good. People are getting all of these clotting diseases now because of the vaccine, which isn't a vaccine. But when you disaggregate blood cells, you're going to have less clots. I mean, things happen, and if you think about it, most heart attacks happen at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, early in the morning when your blood's the thickest, your energy is the lowest and your arterial system is working at a low function. That's when people, I mean, as a fact, that's when people die of heart attacks. So one of the reasons why I wear this at night is I don't want that to happen to me. So I'm not saying it's going to prevent it. I'm saying, according to research, if you can add, old math, not your new math, 1 + 1 = 2. Well, then you can make the connection that this is going to be helpful. You know.
I I I don't think there's going to be a day like as my good friend Lance said. I don't think that we are going to have a day where we're not using this product. And the fact that this is a lithium battery, I saw that it's a C charge, which was so clever because some of the companies that make these charges, the inputs, they make a different input for everything. This is a C charge, so I use the same C charge that I use for my Apple devices. I use on this to charge it up. And I got 3 sessions, 30-minute sessions of this product. And like I said, I just leave it on and then I'm reminded, I'm like, oh, you know what? Let me turn this back on because I know that there's an inherent benefit to this on an everyday
You
basis.
really, as far as we know, you can't overdo it. And if anybody can overdo it, I would be the example because we're the guinea pigs in anything that we do. We make a new
Right.
machine, we use it on ourselves first. This is with our blood machines, with our lasers, with our pads, with this, anything else. And we had multiple opportunities to screw ourselves up, but we didn't. And I mean, there were a few times when we were putting it together. It was, we got to cut this energy down a little bit. It's a little too hot. But you got to get the right battery, like I say, the right emitters and the right wavelengths. And when you get all those, when all those stars align, you've got a product that works. And this does it. It amazes us every day with what people say about pain and about headaches and you know uh, lethargy in preventing disease. One fellow I know went to a wedding out in Napa recently. There was 40, 50 people there. He wore his thing and he took the blue. He didn't get sick. His wife, who didn't use the blue and didn't wear hers, she got COVID. And all these people at the party are calling and said they came down with the COVID, and he didn't get it. He said, "Hey, it's because I'm consistent. I wear it. I know it works. I don't want to
Yeah.
get sick."
I really believe that this is a real benefit. So I don't know whether it's going to protect me from COVID, and I don't know if we can actually make that claim, but I will tell
We
you
can't.
this.
We,
I would, I allow my children to wear this. My son is 13, my daughter's 11. And she wasn't feeling well. She did get sick. My little girl didn't get, just a cold and flu, and I let her wear it. And it seemed like it shortened the process up for some reason. It seemed like it was shorter, like the normal 7 days, 7 to 10 days.
right.
It was like 3 days or
Yeah.
something like that.
Go figure. We
Right.
can't we can't make these claims. All we
No, we're
can
not
say
going to make
is
that claim.
this is what happened. I'm
This
just
is what happened.
telling you what happened with this guy that went to the wedding. Not that, oh, it's going to prevent coronavirus. It's going to
No.
prevent this or that. But that's in fact what it did for him.
Right.
And that's in fact what it did for our doctors and nurses who were treating corona patients in Mexico City, at the height of the outbreak down there.
Yeah. I
We've
think
got 1,000 stories.
it's amazing. So I know that we can't say that this product treats, cures, or prevents any diseases, but
Certainly not.
but I will tell you that there's a lot of stories. There's a lot of stories about this product doing pretty amazing things in my
Yeah.
life and the lives of people close to me. Obviously, people in your life, and it's a great legacy statement for sure. So thank you so much, Gene, for today.
You're welcome. Pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
If you're
Bye.
interested in learning more about this amazing technology, please visit www.quantuslife.com and take a look for yourself. We offer a 30-day money-back guarantee if you're not pleased with the product, and but we know that you will be. So thank you very much for watching, and stay tuned for our next.
Bye.